Welcome back to Fuel Up Classic, and I thought it's been a little while and we're well overdue now an update on my MGB GT V8. I use this car almost daily and I've been documenting my ownership experience with it in and around the other reviews that we do on the channel, road trips and many other things that I try to bring to the channel to make it a little bit of a classic car hub. But the last 6 months or so have been a little bit turbulent with this car and quite a lot's happened. So I thought I'd film a quick video. Of course, the minute I've got the car out the garage, in true British summer weather style, it started to pour with rain. Unbelievable after all this great weather we've been having, but there we are, we'll persevere on. I just want to give you a little bit of an overview of what's gone wrong in the last 6 months, what's gone right, and also what there is left to do, because there still is plenty to do with this car. Now, it might be a little bit tricky in this weather to see the full effect, but the first place I really wanted to show you is cosmetically, just how much this car has been improved. That was never my priority. I'm not a great believer in show cars or anything like that. I really do use this car most days in all weathers, and because of that, it gets dirty, it gets quite grotty, and it picks up little stone chips and things like that from time to time. But I started to invest a little bit more time and money just to bring it up a notch. And I think it's been a really, really positive experience. Now, you can't see the full effect of the paint being polished up because it's now soaking wet, but before it was just a little bit faded, so we did a little bit of a polish. There's more to be done. I may still get the car professionally detailed eventually, but just take a look at those V8 Dunlop wheels, because you may remember, and I know a few of you have been following my ownership journey with this, the old wheels that were on this car were the originals. They were 51 years old, and they had really gone well past their best. And I was really struggling to find any specialist in the UK that was willing to take on a set of those wheels and refurbish them properly. So the very kind and generous world that is the MG community, the general manager at the MG Owners Club, Richard Monk, who is a long-term MGB GT V8 owner, I think he's had his for over 50 years now, very kindly gave me a spare set that he'd kept for a number of years. And although not perfect, they are far, far better than the ones that were fitted before. So they've made a huge improvement. They always say when you're selling a car, wheels and windows make all the difference. And I'm inclined to believe it. It's really lifted the appearance of the car. And of course, whilst I was doing that, I've purchased some new V8 center caps as well. I've still got the MG logo to go on the end and some new stainless steel wheel nuts just to lift it. And it is now sat on a new set of Falcon Sincera tyres as well. I sort of liaised with a few MGB owners about the best tyre choice, and this was consistently the tyre of choice for many MGB V8 owners. So I'm really happy. I've done about 1,000 miles on this new set, and the ride is better. The handling is so much better than the old Chinese Jinyus or whatever they were that were on before. So marked improvement all round. Another area that's been really, really improved is the chrome work. It was still on its original bumpers, and they weren't too bad, to be honest. But when MGOC Spares announced that they were going to bring in a new set of stainless steel bumpers for these cars, well, I thought I'd try it. This is one of the very first ones off the production line. And so far, they've been on the car for about 6 months, and they're holding up really well. Of course, being stainless steel rather than chrome, we're hoping for longevity, and also they should, really stand up to the test of time. But you'd never be able to tell that they're not chrome. They're really well polished, obviously new overriders as well, and a couple of little things like putting the correct 1970s period metal pressed number plates on the car. The old plastic ones were the wrong thing for the car. They made it look shabby, and rather than going down the very popular route of black and white plates, I believe that the car should probably look how it came out the factory. So the lovely people at Tipper's number plates made me up a set of factory originals, and again, just really lifts the overall appearance of the car. It's really starting to rain now, so I'm going to get on to the next bit, and that's where things have gone a little bit downhill, but I hope we're at the other side of some of the problems that I've had. You may remember in my last video, I'd had quite a few mechanical issues over the last 12 months, but nothing too out of the ordinary for a car that hadn't been used a lot. I then jumped in it, and at some points I'm doing 80 miles a day in this thing, and of course we were developing a few issues along the way. But since the last update, well, it's the first time I've had any real mechanical issues with the car. On our way to the Bicester Scramble, this is before the tragic fire that happened a few months ago, back in April, the car had been behaving good as gold, but on the way there, I noticed that the temperature gauge was all over the place. It was very erratic. So we carried on, had a few stops at the side of the road just to let things cool down. And then as we were driving into the Bicester Heritage site, this car overheated in a big, big way. It was quite spectacular. And at first thought, I thought maybe the radiator had given up the ghost. I knew the water pump was relatively new. The hoses were all good. Couldn't quite get to the bottom of what was going on. Nevertheless, I nursed the car home after a great day at Bicester Scramble. Please do go if you haven't been. It's such a unique event. And after lots of sort of messing around and trying to get to the grips of the problem, changed out the radiator. All was fine for a while, and then it started to overheat intermittently. We started to look at what was going on with that Rover V8, and it turned out that, as we suspected really, that the dreaded head gasket failure had finally come round to me. And to my surprise, with the heads off, my expert mechanic Mark dove straight into it. He knows these cars inside out. And it was still on its original pair of head gaskets. Not bad for 51 years old, and I think we're nearly approaching 150,000 miles. So I couldn't complain too much that it was only due to age that one of them had just started to become a little bit porous, and that's why we were losing coolant and therefore overheating. Nonetheless, it was a big old job, heads off, professionally cleaned, skimmed, new uprated gaskets back on, and then, of course, whilst you're there, you might as well look at upgrading a few other things as well. But thankfully, it gave us a really good chance as well to have a look at what's going on internally. And the engine is still in fine fettle. We've got excellent oil pressure. It didn't need anything else. We didn't need to look at cylinder head rebuilds or anything like that. So a head gasket failure is always a pain, but it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It's sometimes a little bit doom and gloom when someone tells you they've had head gasket problems. But this was fixed relatively quickly, and the bill was all in by the time you take in machining the heads, uprated gaskets, and of course the labour to do it, was around about £1,000. So not exactly enough to break the bank, but also nobody likes that kind of bill, of course, but it's all part and parcel of classic car ownership. And I will say, since then, about 1,000 miles covered, and it has been spot on, sweeter than ever. We had a few issues with the manifolds, exhaust manifolds, common problem on V8s, where they blow. They have individual gaskets all the way along, and the new gaskets that were fitted just didn't last very long. I think modern gaskets aren't what they used to be. They're probably made up of a different, more environmentally friendly material, and they lasted about 500 miles before we started to have quite a heavy exhaust blow. So what we've done, and my expert mechanic Mark suggested it, is we've gone for an uprated gasket on this now, on the manifolds, and the same one that they used from the factory for the RV8. And so far, so good. But that's been the real test of things. And coming up soon, we're about to take this car on probably about 1,000 mile, maybe slightly more, return trip to Belgium. We're going up to Spa to see the track. It was meant to be going there in May. Then it blew the head gasket and we just weren't going to get the car ready in time. So I ended up going in the £500 Jag, which has also got its own set of problems at the moment. And that really brings me on that I must film some update videos. It's really raining now. I'm going to take my glasses off here, but I'm going to persevere. We're halfway through. So the £500 Jaguar XJ is broken, but did get us to Belgium and back. My Jaguar XJ6 Series 3 project, which I know a few of you have been chasing me for an update on, well, there's been some real revelations with that. All will be revealed in a video coming very soon. I've got to film it tomorrow. I'm not too happy with some of the things that have happened. It's not the car's fault. I've unfortunately been let down by somebody that was doing the work, but more on that in the next video. The Mark 1 Golf Cabriolet has been off to Mark, my expert mechanic, and he's gone through it all, and that is better than ever. I might have to do a little update video on that one. And the Marcos has just passed its MOT. It's had really a summer of very little, but it's all MOT'd, sailed through with no advisories, and I really need to do something with that very, very soon. So that's where we are. Lots more videos on the way. And it brings me on to the final subject of this car. Now, there isn't a lot of information out there on them, and it's one of the reasons that I want to document my ownership experience with it. I am, in the grand scheme of things, probably quite a young owner. At the age of 34, there aren't many of us out there that are running 50-plus-year-old V8 BGTs, but I really enjoy it, and I'm enjoying the community around it, and I hope you guys are enjoying the ownership experience as well as I share it with you. But this isn't unique to MG. It's actually a problem across the board. I found it with a load of manufacturers now, and it's not even particular suppliers that seem to be guilty of it. I think there's just a mass of poor quality parts on the market. And throughout this 18 months or so that I've been living with this car, there has, of course, been things that have just gone wrong through age and through wearing out. But what seems to be is very few of the replacement parts that you can now buy for all types of different cars, not just MG. They're just not up to the quality that the originals were. I've had quite a few problems. The radiator that was replaced on this just didn't fit. I took the original off, and we had to spend hours messing around fabricating new brackets for the new radiator to fit. Frustrating things like that. I also had an uprated alternator fitted on this car about 6 months ago. It lasted less than 1,000 miles before it failed. Those kind of things are just frustrating. They shouldn't happen, but they are happening more and more. And I'm seeing it on my other cars as well. But as we're talking about the MG, it does seem right just to mention that. So be wary if you're going into classic car ownership. There's not a lot we can all do about it, but we can try and do our research, and we can try and find the best quality parts, or indeed go back to how they used to do it and try and repair things rather than replacing all the time. But having said that, I don't regret my purchase. We're about 18 months, and I'm not sure how many thousands of miles I've covered in this car, but they have all been enjoyable, even the very rare occasions where it's left me at the side of the road. I have always managed to limp it home. There does always seem to be something that needs doing on it, but I think that's just the nature of now a 51-year-old car. But there we are. We're off to Belgium in a couple of weeks' time, and as I pulled the car out the garage earlier, there seems to have developed an issue with the horn. I won't put it on at the moment because the horn is actually stuck on at the moment. I'm not sure what's going on. I think there's a contact somewhere with the steering column that's causing it. But there we are, another job that's just cropped up just when we think we're ready to go. But in about 10 days' time, we're going to be off to Belgium, giving this a proper road trip. Got everything crossed that the car behaves itself. I want to make some memories with it, put some more miles on it, and I will do my very best to film that road trip as well. It's been a little while since we've taken a car to Europe and done something a little bit different. So that's coming up very, very soon. And as I say, we've got to film some updates on my other cars in between the reviews that I do across a variety of other classics. This is just a short, get the car out the garage for 10 minutes, pause with rain, of course, but a little update on where we are with the MGB GT V8. Thank you very much for watching. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. It genuinely makes all the difference. And I will persevere with the videos, and I hope you're all enjoying them at home.